Welcome, my friends. Let's take a nice breath in. Easy sigh. Let the breathing come back to normal. Welcome. My name is Drake, and this is Touching the Edge, and I'm delighted to be with you in this period of us getting together regularly. I want to talk about the phrase urgency creates agency today. Urgency creates agency. That word agency is an amazing word. It means, one of the meanings of the word is for a person, for you, to be able to make your own independent choices and to be able to carry them out. Your own independent choices, not choices that are coerced by your environment, and not the choices that are coerced by urgency. I've been told by my great teachers to treat your great teachers, even those you've never met, as though they are your close friends and even perhaps family members. And two of my great teachers are Bob Marley and Dorothea Brande. Bob Marley, of course, was the great musical artist from Jamaica. He was a mystic and a truly great teacher. And one of his songs was called Wake Up and Live. Dorothea Brande was a great motivational speaker from the last century. And one of her great books, I shouldn't say motivational speaker, motivational writer, and one of her great books was a book also called Wake Up and Live. And I want to draw a connection to these two great artists. In the song Wake Up and Live, Bob Marley urges us to realize that even though we may be living big today, tomorrow we may be buried in a casket. And so to really take the urgency of that to be who you really want to be today, not who you are created by your fears and your anger, because fear always connects to anger. So waking up and live means to find the urgency of agency. Dorothea Brande, in her book, she talked about the will to fail, meaning that our fixation of what we don't want to happen actually accelerates the process of it happening. And haven't we seen that in our country? You know, people are so divided because they are struck by the urgency and are going to their most egocentric place, self versus other, rather than that powerful place that allows them to shine out. I want to talk to you real briefly about some stories that I think are interesting, and I brought some of them up recently. And there are four major guitarists. Wes Montgomery, who was so poor that his whole style was influenced by his poverty, but he had this desire to become a great musician before he passed out of this world. And so life will find a way. Life will find a way. And so his whole style was molded by that situation. So, So he learned to play very, very softly in order to not disturb his neighbors who were in the next door apartment. He learned to play with his thumb because he was able to get a better soft tone with his thumb. He had very, very inexpensive guitars, otherwise known as cheap guitars, and they would go out of tune, and he developed tuning that would allow him to deal with that. And it changed music. The guitarist Tony Ayomi, he was another individual who did the same thing. He played for Black Sabbath, and he cut off two of his fingers. And he was told he would not be able to play the guitar. But he created some prosthetics that he put on those two fingers, and he was able to still play as a result. But his fingers were not as strong, and so he had to loosen the strings. And in the challenge of dealing with this injury, he created a new form of playing that we now call heavy metal. Ry Cooder, another great guitarist, he had the same story. He actually pierced his eye as a child. And while he was there, in the tragedy of that, the family transfixed by the tragedy of this occurrence, his uncle had agency. And his uncle brought a guitar into the darkened room and set it on his chest. And it ignited a passion in him that ended up making him one of the greatest guitarists in history. And he just changed the world. You know, one of the recordings of him that was really big, you might remember it, is the Buena Vista Social Club. You know, check it out. So what I'm suggesting is that if you really are aware of the urgency of your situation, if you don't allow yourself to be transfixed by it, you can find power to rise beyond any conception that you would ever have imagined. So let's find that today. Urgency creates agency. Wake up and live. I'm going to ring the bell. I'm going to ask you to listen carefully. Here we go. I love coffee shops. And one entire summer, in the coffee shop where I regularly go to, in front of the coffee shop, in the cement, a flower had somehow sprung out of the cement, and it stayed there on the sidewalk for the whole summer. Life will find a way. Urgency creates agency. I bring my hands in prayer position. I bow to you, because you are the only you there has ever been. Take advantage of the opportunity. Namaste, my friend.